Beneath 2 kilometers of Antarctic ice, there is a shape the size of a small country. Satellites found it by measuring gravity, not by seeing it. Scientists believe it may be an impact crater, 4 times larger than the one that wiped out the dinosaurs. No one has touched it. No one has drilled into it. And no one is fully sure what it means for Earth's history. This is the story of a hidden scar, buried in ice, waiting to be understood. In 2006, a team of scientists was looking at data from space. They were not searching for a crater. They were studying something much simpler, the shape of gravity across Antarctica. Gravity is not the same everywhere on Earth. It changes, very slightly, based on what lies beneath the surface. Dense rock pulls a little harder. Empty space pulls a little softer. These differences are small, but they can be measured. The scientists were using data from a satellite mission called GRACE. GRACE stood for Gravity Recovery and Climate Experiment. It was not built to find hidden secrets. It was built to track how ice sheets were melting, and how water moved around the planet. But gravity data has a strange side effect. It does not just show you water. It shows you what is buried in rock, deep below the surface, even under thick ice. When the team looked closely at Wilkes Land, a region in East Antarctica, something did not look right. There was a wide, circular pattern in the gravity field. It stretched roughly 500 kilometers across. That is wider than the state of Ohio. The shape was too round, too smooth, and too large to be normal geology. Normal rock formations do not form perfect circles like this. At first, the scientists were cautious. Gravity data can be tricky. It can show shapes that are not really there, caused by errors or overlapping signals. So they checked the data again. They compared it to older studies. They looked at ice-penetrating radar scans taken by planes flying over the same region years earlier. The radar had picked up something too, a slick dip in the bedrock, shaped like a shallow bowl. Two separate methods, done years apart, were pointing to the same thing. A massive, round structure was sitting under the ice, hidden from every eye, human or otherwise. It had never been photographed. It had never been touched. It had only been sensed, indirectly, through the pull of gravity and the bend of radar waves. The scientists began asking a difficult question. Structures this size, this round, usually come from one of two sources. Either they are shaped by rare and violent geological forces deep inside the Earth. Or they are the scar left behind by something that fell from space. No living person had ever seen this shape before that data came in. It had been hiding under the ice for who knows how long. And once the possibility of an impact crater came up, the story stopped being about gravity. It became about a moment in Earth's past that no history book had recorded. Something big had happened here. The only question left was how big, and how long ago. To understand this discovery, we need to understand the tool that found it. GRACE was not one satellite. It was two satellites, flying in a line, one behind the other, about 220 kilometers apart. They circled the Earth together, from pole to pole, over and over again. Their job sounds strange at first. They were built to measure tiny changes in the distance between each other. That distance almost never changed by more than the width of a human hair. But that tiny change mattered. Here is why. When the first satellite flew over a place with slightly stronger gravity, like a mountain range or a dense patch of rock, it would speed up just a little. It would move slightly ahead of the second satellite. When it flew over a place with weaker gravity, like an ocean trench or a hollow space underground, it would slow down. The distance between the two satellites would shrink and stretch, again and again, like a very slow, very quiet heartbeat. By tracking this heartbeat for years, scientists could build a map. Not a map of mountains and rivers. A map of mass. A map of what the Earth is made of, underneath everything we can see. This is how GRACE became useful for tracking melting ice. Ice is heavy. When it melts and flows into the ocean, the mass moves. Gravity shifts. GRACE could detect this shift from space, without ever touching the ground. Scientists used it to track Greenland's ice loss, Antarctica's ice loss, and changes in underground water supplies around the world. But mass does not just come from ice and water. It also comes from rock. And rock is not uniform. Some rock is dense and heavy. Some rock is fractured, lighter, full of gaps. When something enormous strikes the earth, like an asteroid, it does not just leave a hole on the surface. It changes the rock deep underground. It fractures it. It compresses it. It leaves behind a signature that can last for millions of years, long after the surface core has been buried or eroded away. This is the key detail. An impact crater does not just disappear when it gets covered by ice or sediment. Its underground fingerprint stays. The rock beneath a crater is often less dense than the rock around it, because it has been shattered and mixed. That difference in density shows up as a difference in gravity. This is actually the kind of signature the scientists Shallallahu Alaihi Wasallam in Wilkes Land. Not a visible hole. Not a photograph. A change in the pull of gravity itself, hiding under more than a kilometer of ice, sensed by two satellites flying quietly overhead. The tool built to study melting ice had, almost by accident, found something that might be far older, and far stronger, than any climate signal it was designated to track. And what it found raised a question that would take scientists years to even begin answering. How could something this large stay hidden for so long? Once scientists suspected they had found something real, they needed a second opinion. Gravity data alone was not proof. It was a clue. To dig deeper, without actually digging, they turned to a different tool, ice-penetrating radar. This method works differently from GRACE. Instead of measuring gravity from orbit, radar is sent down from an airplane, flying low over the ice. The radar waves pass through the frozen layers and bounce back when they hit something solid, like bedrock. By timing how long the echo takes to return, scientists can build a picture of what lies beneath the ice, almost like an ultrasound of the Earth's crust. Years before the gravity anomaly was noticed, radar flicks had already passed over Wilkes Land. At the time, no one was looking for a crater. They were mapping ice thickness and the shape of the ground below. But when scientists went back and re-examined older data, in light of the new gravity findings, they noticed something they had missed before. There was a shallow, bowl-shaped depression in the bedrock. It stretched roughly 500 kilometers wide, matching the size of the gravity anomaly almost exactly. A raised rim sat around its edges, like the lip of a giant basin. In the middle, the ground dipped down, then rose slightly in the center, a shape that geologists recognize from craters left by powerful impacts elsewhere on Earth. This matching evidence was hard to dismiss. It is one thing for gravity data to hint at something strange. It is another thing entirely for two separate, independent methods, one from space and one from the air, to distribute the same shape, in the same location, at the same size. But there was a problem. Ice moves. Antarctic ice is not still. It flows slowly, like a frozen river, shifting and reshaping the ground beneath it over long periods of time. Scientists had to ask whether the bowl-shaped Shallallahu Alaihi Wasallam could have been carved naturally by moving ice, rather than by an ancient impact. Ice can carve valleys. It can smooth mountains. Could it, on its own, create a circular basin 500 kilometers wide? Most geologists who studied the shape said no. Ice erosion tends to create long, striated patterns, following the direction ice flows. It does not usually produce a clean, circular basin with a raised rim and a central peak. That specific shape, rim and all, is far more commonly linked to impact events, not slow-moving glaciers. Still, without physically drilling down to the bedrock and pulling out real rock samples, no one could say for certain. The evidence pointed strongly in one direction. It did not yet prove it. What everyone agreed on was this: something unusual, something ancient, was located beneath more than 1.5 kilometers of ice, hidden from satellites, planets, and human eyes for an unknown stretch of time. And its size alone was about to raise a very unsettling comparison. To understand how big this structure really is, we need a comparison. Most people have heard of the Chicxulub crater. It sits under the Gulf of Mexico, near the Yucatan Peninsula. It was formed about 66 million years ago, when an asteroid roughly 10 kilometers wide slammed into Earth. That impact is widely believed to have ended the age of the dinosaurs. It triggered fires, blocked sunlight, and collapsed food chains around the planet. Chicxulub is about 150 kilometers wide. It is considered one of the largest confirmed impact structures on Earth. The structure hidden under Wilkes Land is estimated to be around 500 kilometers wide. That is more than 3 times the diameter of Chicxulub. When you compare area instead of just width, some estimates suggest the Wilkes Land structure could be roughly 4 times larger in overall size. If this is truly an impact crater, the object that created it would have to be far larger than the Chicxulub asteroid. Scientists who support the impact theory have suggested the object could have been as wide as 48 kilometers across, nearly 5 times the size of the asteroid that ended the dinosaurs. An impact of that scale is difficult to imagine. It would not be a regional disaster. It would be a global one. The energy released could be strong enough to trigger earthquakes across entire continents, throw enormous amounts of debris into the atmosphere, and block sunlight for years at a time. Temperatures could drop sharply across the planet. Entire ecosystems could collapse within a short window of time. This is where the story shifts from curious to serious. If the Wilkes Land structure really is an impact crater of this size, it would rank among the largest impact events in Earth's known history. Some scientists have gone further, suggesting it could be linked to one of the largest extinction events our planet has ever experienced, an event even older and more severe than the one that ended the dinosaurs. But bigger claims require stronger evidence. A crater size alone does not prove what it said, or even confirm that it is a crater at all. Every added zero, every added kilometer, raises the stakes of being wrong. Scientists notice. It is why many of them have remained cautious, even while acknowledging how striking the data logs. Still, the comparison to Chicxulub is hard to ignore. One crater changed the course of life on Earth, ending the reign of dinosaurs and opening the door for mammals, and eventually humans, to rise. If Wilkes Land holds a crater 4 times larger, the obvious question becomes impossible to avoid. What happened to life on Earth when this one hit? And could its timing line up with a moment of mass that scientists already know happened, but have never fully explained it? Every impact crater carries a time stamp, if scientists can find it. The size of a crater tells you how powerful the impact was. The age of a crater tells you when it happened, and whether it lines up with anything else in Earth's history. This is where the Wilkes Land structure becomes even more difficult to explain. Scientists cannot directly date the crater yet, because no one has drilled down to the bedrock to collect fresh rock samples. Without physical samples, exact dating is impossible. But researchers have made estimates based on the surrounding geology, the layers of rock nearby, and models of how the structure may have formed. Some estimates place the possible impact at around 250 million years ago. That number matters, because it lines up closely with one of the most severe extinction events in Earth's entire history, the Permian-Triassic extinction. Scientists sometimes call it the Great Dying. The Great Dying was not a normal extinction event. It was the most severe one ever recorded in the fossil record. Around 90% of all marine species vanished. Around 70% of land species disappeared. Entire branches of life, some that had existed for tens of millions of years, ended within a relatively short window of geological time. For decades, scientists have debated what caused it. The leading theory points to massive volcanic eruptions in a region known today as the Siberian Traps. These eruptions released enormous amounts of gas and ash, potentially poisoning oceans and warming the atmosphere over a long period. But some scientists have wondered whether volcanic activity alone can explain the sheer scale of the extinction. This is where the Wilkes Land structure enters the debate. If its estimated age truly lines up with the Great Dying, some researchers have asked whether an impact of this size could have triggered, or worsened, the volcanic activity already underway. A large enough impact could theoretically send shockwaves through the Earth's crust, potentially intensifying volcanic eruptions on the opposite side of the planet. It is an intriguing idea. It is also, right now, an unproven one. Many scientists remain cautious, even skeptical, of this connection. Dating a hidden crater using indirect estimates is not the same as dating it with physical evidence. The margin of error on a 250 million-year-old estimate can be large, potentially off by many millions of years. Without a confirmed date, linking it directly to the great being remains speculative, not satellite science. Still, the possibility alone is enough to keep researchers interested. If future evidence ever confirms both the impact and its precision, it could reshape how scientists understand one of the most devastating extinction events life on Earth has ever faced. Until then, the timing remains a haunting coincidence, sitting quietly under the ice, waiting for confirmation that may or may not ever come. With a discovery this significant, a natural question follows. Why has no one simply drilled it down and checked it? If scientists could pull up a physical rock sample from beneath the ice, they could test it for the specific signs of an impact, unusual minerals, shocked quartz, and chemical traces left behind by extreme pressure and heat. A sample like that could settle the debate almost immediately. The answer comes down to one word: depth. The structure sits beneath roughly 1.6 kilometers of solid Antarctic ice. That is not a shallow layer. It is closer to the height of 5 Eiffel Towers stacked on top of each other. Drilling through that much ice, in one of the most remote and hostile environments on Earth, is an extraordinarily difficult and expensive task. Antarctica is not an easy place to work. Temperatures regularly fall far below freezing, even during the short summer research season. Storms can appear suddenly and last for days, grounding aircraft and halting operations. Supplies, fuel, and equipment often have to be flown or shipped in from thousands of kilometers away, since there are no roads, no local suppliers, and no nearby towns to fall back on. Drilling projects in Antarctica already exist, but they are usually focused on other goals, most often ice core research. Ice cores let scientists study ancient climate patterns, trapped gases, and past temperatures by examining the layered ice itself. Drilling through ice for climate data is difficult enough. Drilling all the way through the ice and into solid bedrock below, specifically to sample rock, is an entirely different and far more complex undertaking. Every drilling expedition also requires significant funding. International science budgets are limited, and Antarctic missions must compete with countless other research priorities. A project built solely around confirming or denying a hidden crater would need strong justification, along with international cooperation, since Antarctica is governed by treaty and shared among many nations for scientific purposes. There is also the matter of precision. Even if a drilling team reached the bedrock, they would need to hit the right spot, likely somewhere near the center of the suspected crater, to gather meaningful samples. Off by even a small distance, and the drill could miss the most telling evidence entirely. Because of these challenges, no expedition focused specifically on this anomaly has taken place. The structure remains unconfirmed, sitting exactly where satellites and radar first detected it, unreachable in any practical sense with current resources and priorities. This leaves scientists in an unusual position. They have strong indirect evidence. They have matching data from two independent methods. They have a size and shape that closely resembles known impact craters elsewhere on Earth. But they lack the one piece of proof that would end all doubt, a physical sample, pulled from the rock itself. Until that day comes, if it ever does, the Wilkes Land anomaly remains one of the largest unconfirmed mysteries hidden beneath the ice, known only through the quiet language of gravity and radar. Not every scientist accepts the impact crater theory. In fact, some researchers have pushed back firmly against it, and their objections deserve just as much attention as the original discovery. The strongest counterargument focuses on Antarctica's own geological history. Long before it was covered in ice, Antarctica was part of a much larger landmass, connected to other continents in a configuration scientists call Gondwana. Over hundreds of millions of years, this supercontinent stretched, cracked, and eventually broke apart, forming the separate continents we recognize today. This kind of continental breakup does not happen quietly. It involves intense geological stress, deep fractures in the crust, and shifting magma beneath the surface. Some scientists argue that the circular structure in Wilkes Land could be a natural byproduct of this process, not evidence of an asteroid at all. Large-scale rifting, they say, can sometimes create rounded basins and unusual gravity signatures that make resemble an impact crater, without one ever occurring. There is also the challenge of relying on indirect evidence. Gravity data and radar imaging are powerful tools, but they are still forms of remote sensing. They can strongly suggest a shape and structure, but they cannot definitively prove what created it. Skeptical scientists point out that similar gravity anomalies have been identified in other parts of the world and were later explained by ordinary volcanic or tectonic activity, not by impacts from space. Another point of caution involves the AG estimate. Linking the structure to the Permian-Triassic extinction release on approximate dating, drawn from nearby rock layers and broader geological models, rather than from a confirmed sample taken directly from the site. Some researchers argue that connecting an unconfirmed structure to one of history's most severe extinction events, without direct proof, risks getting ahead of the evidence. This disagreement is not simply a case of one side being right and the other being wrong. It reflects how careful modern science tries to be, especially when a claim carries such enormous implications. If confirmed, the Wilkes Land crater would rank among the largest impact structures ever found on Earth, and it could reshape a scientific understanding of one of the planet's greatest extinction events. Given those stakes, most researchers insist on stronger, more direct evidence before fully accepting the theory. This is not a story of scientists chasing a viral headline. It is a story of researchers actively debating each other, testing each other's assumptions, and refusing to accept a conclusion just because it feels dramatic or compelling. That process, though slower and far less satisfying than a certain answer, is actually how real science is supposed to work. For now, the truth remains locked beneath the ice, neither confirmed nor disproven. Both sides agree on one thing: something unusual is down there. What they disagree on is what put it there, and what, if anything, it did to life on Earth when it happened. Whether or not the Wilkes Land structure turns out to be an impact crater, its discovery reveals something important about our planet. There are still enormous, unanswered mysteries hiding beneath its surface, even in an age of satellites, radar, and advanced technology. A structure 500 kilometers wide sat undetected for years, not because it was too small to notice, but because it was buried under conditions so extreme that almost no one could reach it. If future research eventually confirms this as an impact crater, the implications would stretch far beyond Antarctica. It would mean Earth has experienced impact events even larger than the one that ended the age of dinosaurs, even severe enough to potentially reshape entire ecosystems and possibly contribute to mass extinctions that scientists are still working to fully explain. It would also raise a more unsettling question. If an impact this size could remain hidden and undetected for tens of millions of years, what else may still be buried beneath the ice, or beneath the ocean floor, or deep within regions of the Earth that remain difficult to study? Antarctica alone remains one of the least explored landmasses on the planet, not because scientists lack curiosity, but because its ice sheets make direct study incredibly difficult. Even without full confirmation, the Wilkes Land anomaly has already accomplished something valuable. It has pushed scientists to refine how they read gravity data, how they combine multiple remote sensing methods, and how they interpret hidden geological structures without directly seeing them. These techniques could help identify other unknown features elsewhere on Earth, structures that may be sitting quietly beneath ice sheets, ocean basins, or dense forests, waiting to be noticed for the first time. This case also highlights an important truth about science itself. Not every discovery arrives with a clear, immediate answer. Some findings sit in a state of careful uncertainty for years, even decades, while researchers debate, test, and refine their understanding. That waiting period is not a failure of science. It is a sign that science is being done carefully, especially when the potential implications are significant. Somewhere beneath Wilkes Land, hidden under more than a kilometer of ice that has not moved in a very long time, lies a structure that may hold answers about one of Earth's darkest chapters. It may be the scar of a catastrophic impact that changed the course of life on this planet. Or it may be a natural formation, shaped slowly over millions of years by forces already well understood. Until someone drills down far enough to find out for certain, it remains one of Earth's most compelling unanswered questions, sitting silently in the coldest, most isolated place on the planet, waiting for the technology, the funding, and the right moment to finally reveal what it has been hiding all along.